The galaxy remembered the day the Velkar Dominion chose to strike at humanity. They did not launch a war fleet against Earth itself. No, that would have required courage. Instead, they targeted a small frontier colony of farmers and miners. Men, women, and children lived beneath that sky, their defenses outdated, their communications primitive. The Velkar descended like carrion birds. Cities burned. Orbital bombardments erased forests and oceans. Their commanders laughed, broadcasting the slaughter across open channels. "You weak creatures," they taunted. "Your flesh is soft, your bones fragile, your resolve pathetic. You should never have left your little blue rock." Thousands died in hours. Thousands more were taken as slaves, herded into cages to fuel the Velkar's industries. Among them was a man, Captain Elias Cade. Once he had commanded a ship of the Terran Defense Navy. Now he was broken, shackled, a trophy paraded before the Velkar's councils. His name was stripped, his rank erased, his fate sealed in the Dominion's endless labor camps. The aliens laughed as they worked him to exhaustion. They beat him when he resisted. They mocked him when he endured. And above all, they boasted, "Earth will do nothing. Earth is too civilized, too cautious, too bound by its own laws. Humanity bends. Humanity kneels." The galaxy nodded in agreement. Humanity was clever, inventive, adaptable, but too merciful to wield vengeance. A kingdom of chains, the Velkar Dominion built its power on laws of subjugation. Entire species were broken and bound, taught obedience through terror. Their archives were filled with decrees written in ink and fire. Proclamations that codified slavery, tribute, and war. In their prisons, no one escaped. No one resisted for long. The laws were clear. Rebellion was punished with the slow erasure of an entire bloodline. And so, when Elias Cade refused to bow, they made an example of him. He was starved, whipped, dragged through public arenas where crowds jeered at the frailty of human flesh. He was forced to carry banners proclaiming humanity's weakness, each step a humiliation designed to echo across worlds. The Velkar declared, "Let this human prisoner be a warning. Earth will kneel, as all others have knelt." But in their arrogance, they forgot the truth whispered through every age of human history. The more chains you wrap around a human, the sharper they make their blade. The whisper of escape on. The 23rd cycle of his imprisonment, Elias Cade disappeared. The guards assumed he had collapsed and died, his body discarded into the furnace pits. But in truth, he had been listening, watching, waiting. Humans are patient beyond measure. Humans are stubborn beyond reason. And Elias Cade was more than human. He was a soldier forged in Earth's oldest lessons: survival, defiance, and retaliation. He killed his first captor with a shard of broken chain. He took their blade and cut down 2 more. He slipped through vents, stalked corridors, and whispered humanity's promise into the ears of those who mocked him. "You thought we were weak. You thought we forgot how to kill. You thought wrong." When the alarms rang, it was too late. By the time they realized what he had done, Elias Cade had seized control of a Velkar warship. He burned his prison to ashes, and with that fire, he wrote the first line of a new law. The silence before the storm news of his escape spread like wildfire across the stars. The Velkar laughed at first. One man, one ship, a fugitive with nowhere to hide? Their commanders dismissed it as an inconvenience, a brief insult soon to be corrected. But then came the whispers. Velkar patrols vanished without a trace. Outposts burned. Slave camps were found empty. Their guards slaughtered. Their records erased. On the walls, carved into steel, were words written in blood. "You took one colony. I will take your empire." The Dominion began to falter. For the first time in centuries, their laws were broken not by fleets, not by rival nations, but by one escaped human who refused to die. And still, Earth said nothing. Humanity was silent. The galaxy mistook that silence for fear. They did not see the fleets assembling in the void. They did not hear the dreadnoughts powering up. They did not feel the weight of 1 billion souls demanding vengeance. Humanity does not roar until it is ready to strike. The rewriting of laws, the turning point came when Elias Cade broadcast a single message across the Dominion. "I was your prisoner. I was your proof of humanity's weakness. But you made a mistake. You forgot that we were forged in chains long before you were born. You forgot that our history is one of rebellion, revolution, and war. You forgot that our laws are not written in ink. They are written in blood." With that, the skies cracked open. The first Terran fleets emerged. Dreadnoughts the size of cities, carriers that released swarms of gunmetal death, Cruisers bristling with railguns and plasma cannons. Every ship bore the same insignia, a single broken chain. Elias Cade was no longer a fugitive. He was a general, leading the charge. His escape had not been an act of desperation. It had been the opening strike of humanity's retribution. The Velkar responded with their full armada. Millions of ships, entire legions, armored titans built to crush planets. But against humanity's wrath, they crumbled. The storm of retribution. The battles were not wars. They were executions. Terran dreadnoughts blotted out suns, their barrages tearing apart fleets in hours. Velkar strongholds that had stood for millennia were erased in minutes. Worlds that once enslaved millions were shattered into silence. Human soldiers, clad in exo-armor, carrying weapons that roared like thunder, descended upon Velkar cities. They fought with precision, with fury, with a rage that was centuries old. Every blow they struck was not for conquest. It was for justice. The galaxy watched in horror as the Dominion collapsed. Alien councils whispered in terror. How can flesh defeat empires? How can one prisoner destroy a dynasty? The answer was simple. Humanity's patience had ended. Elias Cade led from the front, his voice echoing through the shattered halls of Velkar Command. You wanted to teach us fear. Instead, you learned what happens when humanity rewrites the laws of war. The ashes of Dominion, by the war's end, the Velkar Dominion was gone. Their archives, once filled with decrees of conquest, now bore a single human commandment, burned into their stone tablets and etched into their surviving databases. Never again enslave humanity. Never again strike at Earth, for the price is everything you are. Elias Cade stood upon the ruins of their capital. He was no longer a prisoner. He was no longer broken. He was the author of a new law. A law carved into the bones of an empire. The galaxy whispered his name like a curse, like a prayer. For where the Velkar had seen weakness, he had shown defiance. Where they had written cruelty, he had answered with blood. The whispered fear, when the silence returned, it was heavier than any bombardment. Fleets drifted quietly back into the dark. Humanity spoke no boast, claimed no glory. They left ashes where once there had been chains. Other empires watched, trembling. They remembered the arrogance of the Velkar, the laughter, the taunts. They remembered the colonies burning, and they remembered the end, when one human prisoner escaped and rewrote their laws with blood. Now, across the stars, a single phrase is whispered whenever an alien council debates whether to strike at Earth. Never provoke humanity. Their patience is vast, but their vengeance is infinite.